Dragons appear in the myths of nearly every civilization. Massive, reptilian creatures with scales, claws, and terrible power. In Europe, they hoard treasure and breathe fire. In China, they rule the rains and bring prosperity. In Mesoamerica, feathered serpents soar between worlds. But what if these stories were not born from pure imagination? What if dragon bones were really the fossils of dinosaurs, mistaken by ancient people and transformed into legends that shaped entire cultures? Long before paleontology, humans stumbled upon enormous bones buried in the ground. Imagine a farmer uncovering a skull larger than his body, filled with sharp teeth. To him, it was not an extinct animal, it was proof of monsters. Without the framework of science, ancient people interpreted fossils in the only way they could, as the remains of creatures that had once roamed the earth, still alive in memory or hidden in remote lands. China provides one of the clearest examples. For centuries, villagers unearthed dinosaur fossils and called them dragon bones. These bones were ground into powders for medicine, displayed in temples, or woven into myths. To the people who found them, they were not relics of extinction, but evidence that dragons were real and powerful. This connection between fossils and myth helped solidify dragons as symbols of strength and fortune in Chinese culture. In Greece, too, fossils may have seeded myth. The monstrous skulls of mastodons and mammoths, with their central nasal cavities, could be mistaken for cyclopean giants or dragons. Fossilized bones of enormous reptiles might inspire tales of serpents slain by heroes like Hera. The Greeks even coined the word drakon, meaning serpent, or huge reptile, to describe these creatures. Consider also the deserts of Central Asia. Fossilized remains of protosaur, small dinosaur with a frilled skull and beak, were exposed by wind and sand. Two nomadic tribes, these bones looked like griffins, half lion and half bird. Traders carried these stories west, where griffins entered European lore. What we call myth may have been the fossil record speaking to those who did not yet understand it. The details of dragon stories strengthen the case. Dragons are often described with long tails, clawed feet, and massive jaws, features strikingly similar to dinosaurs. Even the fire-breathing detail may have roots in fossils. Burn marks found near ancient bones, caused by volcanic activity, could give the impression that the creature itself had once breathed fire. To ancient storytellers, the evidence was clear. Dragons once lived, and perhaps still did. The power of fossils to shape culture cannot be underestimated. Fossils inspired awe and fear, leading to myths that explained natural disasters, weather, and even morality. In China, dragons became symbols of rain and rivers. In Europe, they became enemies for knights to conquer, embodying chaos and evil. In both cases, the myths grew from bone-silent relics of a forgotten age that spoke loudly to the human imagination. Modern paleontology has only existed for a few centuries. Before that, fossils were mysteries, misinterpreted by every culture that found them. Even today, in remote parts of the world, locals sometimes describe fossils as bones of monsters. This proves how natural it is for human beings to fill the gaps in knowledge with story. And sometimes, those stories last longer than the science. So what if dragon bones were really dinosaur fossils? Then dragons are not pure fantasy, but cultural memories of real creatures, filtered through imagination. They would stand as proof that humanity has always been trying to understand the deep past, long before science gave us words like dinosaur. And they would remind us that myths are not lies, they are attempts to explain truths too vast to fully grasp. In the end, when we marvel at dragons in art and legend, we may be marveling at the shadow of dinosaurs themselves. The fossils shaped the myths, and the myths shaped cultures. Dragons live not because they once soared in the skies, but because their bones slept beneath our feet, whispering stories to those bold enough to dig them up.